Thank you all for coming. My name is Afsana Rosti, and I am the Arizona National Board Representative to our national chapter. We have a local chapter here. We have about 10 chapters across the nation. Phoenix is a little bit smaller organization of attorneys, but we have a very wide presence in the nation. And I know this is supposed to be a non-political discussion, so if anyone has any specific questions that you'd like to ask me about the travel ban, because the IABA has filed several federal lawsuits in court, and they're very successful, and all the information is available on our website, iaba.us. So afterwards, if you have any questions, I can go more in depth and tell you what we've been doing and the organizations that we've been working with, PIA and NIAC. So please approach me afterwards, and I can fill you in. Also, to let you know, this whole discussion is going to be in English. Roya Jan speaks Farsi, so if any of you feel more comfortable asking a question in Farsi, I'm sure afterwards, if that's okay. So we're really excited to have both Roya and Jenna here to speak about immigration issues and everything that's going on with the travel ban and naturalization. Roya has been a member of IABA for a while. She has her own full-service immigration law firm here. She's been practicing, I believe, her own firm 6 years, correct? Okay. And then Jenna is an attorney at Fragonen Worldwide, which is the largest corporate immigration law firm in the world. All they do is immigration. They have offices here and abroad. So she's been working, I'm not sure.
Almost 5 years.
5 years. If you'd like to give a more in-depth background so people can connect with you and see the experience that you have, please feel welcome to. But if you guys are going to speak, and then we're going to do questions afterwards. So please save your questions to the end. So if you all can join me in welcoming Roya and Jenna.
Thank you so much to the Iranian American Society of Arizona, as well as the Iranian American Bar Association, for inviting us today. And please remember, this is not any legal advice to any specific person, so consult with your own attorney before you make any decisions after this meeting today. But Jenna is going to start.
Yeah, so we're just going to talk a little bit about the travel ban first. I'm sure that you all have been following it in depth with bated breath, and we'll talk about waivers, naturalization, a whole slew of issues. But so just a brief history of the travel ban. Like I said, I'm sure you all know, but it's had 3 different versions. They keep trying and trying and trying. So the first version was very restricted. It had a lot of countries. It even restricted LPRs. Based on court cases, they changed it. There was a second travel ban, and now we're on the third version. This third version is being litigated in court to try and stop it or change it, so we'll talk a little bit about that. But just background, so you know, there are 8 countries: Chad, Iran, Libya, North Korea, Somalia, Syria, Venezuela, and Yemen. All of them have a little bit different restrictions. So for some countries, it's very restricted. They don't allow any sort of visas. Other countries, it's a little bit less. They maybe will issue visas, but it'll be with more restrictive scrutiny. So who knows what that really means. But for Iran, it's no non-immigrant visas except F, the student visas, M, J, exchange visitors, but no immigrant or diversity lottery visas. So in immigration, there's many types. So they limit it based on country. It applies to anyone who is outside of the U.S. The date this went into effect, which was September 2017. If you didn't have a visa on that date, you can't get one if you were, depending on your country. There are some exemptions, so U.S. permanent residents are not subject to the travel ban. If you had something called advanced parole, if you're a dual national of a restricted country and a non-restricted country, you could travel on the non-restricted passport. Have you seen any other major applications or exemptions those are the big things about the travel ban. So what this means is for anyone who's here in the U.S., they really need to think really critically about any sort of travel, because if this applies to you and you leave the U.S. and you have to get a visa to return, unless you qualify for a waiver, which we'll talk about, even if you qualify, getting one is a whole other story. It may be pretty impossible to get back in. So the question is, how long is this going to be in effect? Right now, it's in place indefinitely. The Department of State and Homeland Security has authority to review this periodically to determine if maybe one of the countries they deem no longer a security threat and they could take it off. But as it stands right now, this is in place for the long haul. However, there are a few courts who have gone to bat. People have brought cases against the travel ban. Really big cases were in the Ninth Circuit, our circuit, and the Fourth Circuit. At first, the Ninth Circuit tried to stop a lot of these restrictions. They tried to give even more exemptions. So if someone could prove they had a bona fide relationship with a U.S. citizen, or if a company, an entity, needed to sponsor someone to bring it in, to bring someone into the U.S., they wanted to allow these people to come in against the ban. So they made that decision. However, the Supreme Court reviewed their decision and said, no, sorry, you can't have these restrictions. We're keeping the ban as is until we see the whole case, which is actually supposed to happen in April. The Supreme Court is supposed to review this. The Ninth Circuit took the case back after the Supreme Court allowed enforcement. And the Fourth Circuit also had a version of these charges or fights against the ban in December. Both of these cases were in December, and they both ruled against the travel ban. The Ninth Circuit said that the travel ban was exceeding executive authority. The president was going beyond his power. The Fourth Circuit said this was against the Establishment Clause of the Constitution, which is allowing for religious freedom and tolerance. So they were saying this is unconstitutional. So these two cases courts have ruled against the travel ban, and now the Supreme Court in April will hear this and make the final decision on this travel ban. So I think that was my brief history. So now the waivers, because that's, if this applies for you, your only hope is a waiver, but is it very hopeful?
And also, I think the decision they're going to make, the Supreme Court will make a decision maybe in June.
I heard April, but maybe later.
Okay. So the waiver, I was going to talk a lot about it, but I want to preface that we just found out that just a couple of days ago that out of that since the ban went into effect, the third travel ban on December 8th, 2017, of these 8 countries, there have been 8,406 applicants trying to come into the United States with a visa. And out of those, 6,555 applicants applied for a waiver. The waiver is basically to ask for the visa restriction to be lifted while this ban is in place. There have only been 2 waivers issued as of February 15th. February 15th, 2018. So that really shows you that there's not really a waiver process. Many people are applying and have been told, okay, we will consider your waiver, we'll get back to you, or your waiver will be sent to DC for further review, or yes, I will even grant you this waiver, but then they never actually get the visa to come to the United States. So some people are saying, if you do have an upcoming interview, maybe it's in your best interest to delay the interview until the Supreme Court makes a decision, especially for Iranians who have to travel outside of their country to attend the interview at a U.S. embassy in Turkey, for example, or UAE or other countries. However, the executive order that issued this travel ban has allowed for individuals to apply for the waiver, and there's 3 criteria that you must be able to meet. One of them is Denying entry would cause the foreign national undue hardship. So they've explained that this must be a very unusual situation for the individual to meet this burden. The second criteria is that entry would not pose a threat to the national security or public safety of the United States. So with this requirement, the consular officer will consider information sharing and identity management protocols to see what that foreign country, how do they release their information about their own nationals. They then consult with the visa office and the consular manager to see if they've met this burden. And the final criteria is entry would be in the national interest. So the U.S. person or the U.S. entity would suffer some type of hardship. But again, there's only been 2 since February 15th. There have been reports that since February 15th till now, today's March 11th, that there have been hundreds of waivers that have been granted. However, there's no really proof of this. This is just a report. We don't know if that's true or not. So we believe that it's really important that as Iranians or U.S. citizens, you contact your senators, your congressmen, so that they know that they're on notice, that we're all paying attention to what these elected officials are doing, because it's so important for our community that that these people can come to the United States. And also speak to Afsan afterwards, support organizations that are challenging the ban. One website is endthetravelban.com, so that they can continue to challenge the ban.
Should we take any questions about the travel ban or waivers?
Is April or June, would that be the final or still gonna be extended more?
I think they hear the case in April and then they make a decision in June.
And it should,
Yeah, that's correct. Here, April, this is.
We don't know exactly when though.
So they might extend it again.
Well, they should make a decision.
yeah, I think they were waiting for the Ninth Circuit and Fourth Circuit to hear the cases to kind of have their decisions on the books. So it sounds likely that they will make a decision and their decision will be the final decision.
So it would be yes or no?
Right.
Yes.
You think it's gonna be a restriction for father, mother, wives, or blood relation, or that sort of things, exception?
So it would be pure speculation. I don't know, it'd be a guess to say what they are going to say.
Or it's gonna be period, no period for everybody?
I think they would, I believe they would follow the travel ban, yes or no. I don't think that they would place restrictions on the travel ban. And I don't know, speculation again, but since the Ninth Circuit did try to restrict the travel ban and the Supreme Court shut it down and enforce the travel ban, a lot of people are not very hopeful that they will side against the travel ban.
And you mentioned about if somebody wants to go for an interview, it's delayed. In what category are you talking about? Because my brother-in-law is in line for them to call him over for immigration for green card purposes. So is he one of the ones that have to delay his interview, or it just applies to the waiver?
So as Jen had mentioned, the only 2 or 3 categories of visas from Iran that are allowed to come right now are students. So there's like the vocational schools, M visa, F visa, and then J, the exchange student. So everybody else is currently facing this travel ban. So your family member would face the travel ban. Now they don't need to delay it. They can go and apply for this waiver, and perhaps they will get this waiver approved to be able to come. But at the moment, they won't be able to come to the United States.
Are they actively, is the American Embassy, or the Council actively calling people?
Yes.
They are calling people for an
Right. So
interview?
as of December till now, or excuse me, February 15th, there were 8,406 individuals that appeared for an interview, and all of them have been denied entry except for 2.
Okay.
And they're not denying all of the waivers.
Correct,
They're
not
putting
denying.
a lot on
Hold.
Okay.
As I understood, F1 visa is okay, right?
They're not
There's a-
subject to the, they're not
For
subject.
F1 and F2, there's no
I think there's more
ban or
scrutiny.
anything like that.
Right,
They're
yeah,
exempt, right?
they're exempt from this waiver, but I would imagine they are probably facing even more scrutiny to get the visas. So all of, I don't know about M, but F and J are non-immigrant intent
Yeah.
visas, which mean they have to want to return home. I would imagine they would be needing to prove even more that they want to return home.
So, because I entered US during the ban, the third ban, so my visa is F1, I'm here for study. So I wanted to know if, for example, my wife wants to come here, if she can come here or not. That's my question.
Does she already have a visa?
No, that's what I'm asking. She wants to go for interview.
So maybe we can discuss it after.
Yeah, case specific, but the F category is not subject to the ban. She may face more difficulties than she
But
would
she
have.
can come.
She could try to apply. She could try to apply and try to get the visa.
You apply for the waiver at the embassy or you have to do it here before the interview, like the fiancé visa. You have to apply for the waiver when you go for the interview or you have to do it here before the interview.
It's applied with the Department of State, and so that's the consulates or embassy.
Right, yeah, so in order to even get the visa to enter, you have to get a waiver first to get the visa to come to the US. Any other questions about the waiver or the travel ban?
Is the waiver including those three conditions? First, they have to be not public charge to the United States or prove something that this person comes here is a benefit to the U.S. government, and the third one is the hardship for either one. Is that those three cases?
So to be able to
Yes.
obtain a waiver, right, you have to prove that the foreign national will suffer some type of extreme hardship, undue hardship. Yeah, the second is that they don't pose a threat to the national security or public safety of the United States.
And the third
And the third is that entry would be in the national interest of the United States.
is the benefit to the U.S.
Since my brother-in-law, we have paid for him all the fees up to this point that he's finished here and he's waiting in line to be called. Now, if they don't call him and they put it on hold, is there a movement to sue class action? Because of the fees we paid to the US government.
So I misspoke. They don't deny you the visa. They just refuse you. And that word refuse means that you're kind of in this holding period.
Okay, so they call you, they interview you, and they say, okay, wait,
Right.
you can't sue.
Their phrase is administrative processing.
Yeah.
They're working on it.
That's why if you could delay and see how things fall with the Supreme Court.
But if they call you, you cannot delay.
I think
You can. You
request,
just email the consulate or embassy to say, I can't make it on this day, let's postpone it. And that may work for like a month or
After
two.
waiting